What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy. Welcome back to our Bible study. Okay, so Numbers chapter 26. Last chapter, we had a bunch of people die because of people turning away from God, basically getting lured / seduced by, was it Moabite women or Midianite? I think it was mostly Moabite women, but there was another woman involved in that whole thing who was also the daughter of a Midianite leader. But anyway, and this does not mark the first occasion where a bunch of God's people have been killed off as punishment for disobeying God. So perhaps partially because of that, we have this whole thing happening with another registration of Israel's troops. But also, it's been a number of years, an unknown number of years, but some years since the previous registration, all the way at the beginning of the book of Numbers. So, anyway, that's how we're kicking things off here in chapter 26. So let's dive right in. After the plague had ended, the Lord said to Moses and to Eleazar, son of Aaron the priest, "From the whole community of Israel, record the names of all the warriors by their families. List all the men 20 years old or older who are able to go to war." So there on the plains of Moab, beside the Jordan River, across from Jericho, Moses and Eleazar the priest issued these instructions to the leaders of Israel. List all the men of Israel 20 years old and older, just as the Lord commanded Moses. This is the record of all the descendants of Israel who came out of Egypt. And we'll get to that in just a bit. But when it says the plague here, this is talking about the plague. It kind of didn't directly call it a plague until like the very end of last chapter. But it definitely said that there was a plague. So I guess because of God being angry with, the Israelites for turning to other gods, then a plague fell upon the people, which caused the 24,000 deaths that we read of last chapter, because they had started worshiping other gods. So I assume it's talking about that plague when it says after the plague had ended. Footnote there, the initial phrase in verse 26:1 is numbered 25:19 in the Hebrew text. So there's a thing to note. Sometimes, chapters and verses will be a little bit different from how they were. I mean, first of all, the earliest Hebrew texts didn't even necessarily have chapters and verses. They were just like, big old scrolls of, all right, well, here's this particular writing, this would be the scroll of Genesis or the scroll of Isaiah or whatever. And it would just be kind of a straight read through. Maybe a bit later on, they started adopting, some sort of subsections, which might have been the, original chapter verse kind of numbering as it mentions in the Hebrew text. Not totally sure on that. Not enough of a Bible historian to say for sure on that. But it does seem more fitting to have this verse directly connected to verse 2, considering verse 2 is just diving right into, words from the Lord. So let's give it a slight bit of context within this chapter, maybe, sort of explain what's going on there. But anyway, also slight bit more detail on where they were located when all this happened. But this kind of recording of the troops and the qualifications thereof is pretty much exactly the same as it was at the beginning of the book of Numbers. All the men who could fight, 20 years old and up. So, anyway, then we get into the record of said descendants. So, verse 5. These were the clans descended from the sons of Reuben, Jacob's oldest son. The Hanokite clan, named after their ancestor Hanok. The Paluite clan, named after Palu. Hezronite clan, named after Hezron. The Carmite clan, named after Carmi or Carmi, I don't know. These were the clans of Reuben. Their registered troops numbered 43,730. Keep in mind, this is just the troops. Anyway, Palu was the ancestor of Eliab, and Eliab was the father of Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. This Dathan and Abiram are the same community leaders who conspired with Korah against Moses and Aaron, rebelling against the Lord. Kind of flashing back to chapter 16 with that. But the earth opened up its mouth and swallowed them with Korah, and fire devoured 250 of their followers. This served as a warning to the entire nation of Israel. However, the sons of Korah did not die that day. I mean, just because Korah himself was rebellious doesn't necessarily mean all of his sons were. Interesting that they decided to note that kind of family tree there in lineage. But, so it seems like it's just kind of naming out the clans and then saying how many were from said clan. But, anyway, I do wonder, maybe this stuff happening with Dathan and Abiram were, you know, maybe it had some sort of an effect on the number of troops within the clan, although that didn't happen, to the best of our knowledge, that terribly long ago. There might have been like one other generation that could have, matured in the time between, but I still don't think it would have had that significant of an effect on how many people or troops would have been registered from that tribe. So anyway, all right, moving on to verse 12. These were the clans descended from the sons of Simeon. The Jemuelite clan. I'm just going to skip this part over here now because, I mean, the name of the clan is just associated with the name of their ancestor across the board. So, you've got the Jemuelite clan, the Gemonite clan, the Jachinite clan, the Zoharite clan, and the Shaulite clan. These are the clans of Simeon, and their registered troops numbered 22,200. Quick check of the footnote here. As in the Syriac version. Oh, okay, so the Hebrew reads Nemuel. I'm not sure why it would go with the... Maybe the Syriac version... the trouble with trying to translate these texts is, sometimes the oldest text is a bit incomplete, and so, in order to stay more consistent throughout a given section, they might go with a slightly newer text for the translation instead of the oldest one. But anyway, footnote there at Zohar, Hebrew reads Zerahite rather than Zoharite. Okay. Also, did I miss... I did miss a footnote up there. But that footnote just says Israel's instead of Jacob's because... So Jacob was the original name of Israel, but the man named Jacob wrestled with God at a certain moment in his life, and because of that, he got sort of renamed by God to Israel, because the meaning of Israel literally is something about wrestling with God. So, and he's like the namesake of God's chosen people here, the Israelites. Verse 15, these are the clans descended from the sons of Gad: the Zephonite clan, the Haggite clan, Shunite clan, the Oznite clan, the Erite clan, the Eridite clan, and the Aralite clan. These are the clans of Gad. Their registered troops numbered 40,500. By the way, each one of these tribes that it is separating here would have been a son of Jacob / Israel. That's why it's breaking them down in this way. Footnote there. Hebrew reads just Arod instead. It's instead of Arodai here, I guess. Anyway, it's pretty close. Let's see here. Judah had 2 sons, and Onan, who had died in the land of Canaan. These were the clans descended from Judah's surviving sons: the Shenite clan, the Shelonite clan, the Perizzite clan, the Zerahite clan, and these were the subclans descended from the Perizzites, the Hezronites, and the Hamulites. These were the clans of Judah. Their registered troops numbered 76,500. I'm curious by the time we get to the end of this how the numbers of troops are going to compare with the previous registration. But anyway, these are the clans descended from the sons of Issachar: the Tolaite clan, the Puite clan, the Jashubite clan, and the Shimronite clan. These are the clans of Issachar. Their registered troops number 64,300. Footnote there at Puah. Hebrew reads, the Punite clan, named after its ancestor Puvah, rather than Puah. Verse 26 now. These are the clans descended from the sons of Zebulun: the Saradite clan, the Ilonite clan, the Jalilite clan. These are the clans of Zebulun. Their registered troops numbered 60,500. I'm sorry, Elon. Given modern events, can't help but chuckle ever so slightly seeing the name Elon. Anywho, 2 clans were descended from Joseph through Manasseh and Ephraim. These are the clans descended from Manasseh: the Machirite clan and the Gileadite clan. And the subclans descended from the Gileadites. A bunch more of those for some reason. The Iazarites? I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, Helikites, the Azraelites, the Shechemites, the Shemidites, and the Heferites. Man, these names, ugh. One of Hefer's descendants, Zelophehad, had no sons, but his daughters' names were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. Okay. These are the clans of Manasseh. Their registered troops numbered 52,700. I guess I was like, kind of interesting that it mentions the daughters' names, but because he had no sons, I guess, okay. Moving on to the next tribe. These were the clans descended from the sons of Ephraim: the Shethelahite clan, the Becherite clan, the Tahanite clan, and this was the subclan descended from the Shethelahites, and those were called the Aaronites. I'm wondering what exactly makes a certain group worthy of being named subclan in this registration. Is it a certain number of people, or I don't know. Anyway, these are the clans of Ephraim. Their registered troops numbered 32,500. These clans of Manasseh and Ephraim were all descendants of Joseph. Okay, so that's why it singled them out specifically, because Joseph played a very key role at one point in the story. I won't really get too much into that, but Joseph was one of Jacob's sons, but, you know, he kind of in a way wound up saving the whole family at one point, and was the main reason why the people wound up in Egypt in the first place, even though they wound up being there a lot longer than they probably wanted to be. But I digress. Next tribe. These were the clans descended from the sons of Benjamin. The Belite clan, the Ashbelite clan, the Ahiramite clan, the Shuphamite clan, and the Huphamite clan. The subclans descended from the Belaites, the Ardites, and the Naamites. These are the clans of Benjamin. Their registered troops number 45,600. I'm also realizing I may have missed a footnote or two here. It's probably just other name changes like we've seen earlier in this chapter. Like, that said Shefufem instead of just Shufam. Anyway, I find that a bit easier to read as it is in here. But anyway, these were the clans descended from the sons of Dan, the Shuhamite clan, named after their ancestor Shuham. And that was it. And yet still their registered troops numbered 64,400. These were the clans descended from the sons of Asher, the Imnite clan, the Ishvite clan, and the Beriite clan. Subclans from the Beriites, the Heberites, and the Malchielites. Okay, Asher also had a daughter named Sarah. These were the clans of Asher. Their registered troops numbered 53,400. Okay, hold up. Was he the only direct son of Jacob to have a daughter? Because why would that suddenly get mentioned now? I don't know. Maybe there's a connection to some earlier event that I'm missing, or maybe a connection to some later event that we'll find out later. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of connections all throughout the Bible that are kind of easy to miss unless you absolutely are looking for them very studiously. But anyway, these were the clans descended from the sons of Naphtali, the Jazilite clan, the Gunite clan, the Jizerite clan, and the Shilemite clan. These were the clans of Naphtali. Their registered troops numbered 45,400. So, now we get to the summary. In summary, the registered troops of all Israel numbered 601,730. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Divide the land among the tribes, and distribute the grants of land in proportion to the tribes' populations, as indicated by the number of names on the list. Give the larger tribes more land, and the smaller tribes less land, each group receiving a grant in proportion to the size of its population. But you must assign the land by lot, and give land to each ancestral tribe according to the number of names on the list. Each grant of land must be assigned by lot among the larger and smaller tribal groups." Okay. See, when it says by lot, usually what that meant was it was not necessarily a, specifically whoever's communicating or deciding all this would have said, okay, you're the biggest, so you get this, you're the next biggest, so you get that. It's almost more of like, okay, pick a name out of the hat type thing. Maybe it wasn't quite like that. Anyway, it was a less planned out sequence of choosing and splitting up the land in this case. Also, yes, the number of registered troops does, to my recollection, wind up being similar to the earlier registry. And those were just the troops. So, never mind the women and the children under age 20. So, yeah, like, very well could have had, honestly, I don't think it would be too bad of an assumption to say that the whole of the Israelites was like triple this number. So, a lot of people. But anyway, now we get to the tribe of Levi, because the Levites are a bit different since they they are serving in the tabernacle and whatnot. So, verse 57. This is the record of the Levites who were counted according to their clans. You had the Gershonite clan, the Kohathite clan, and the Merarite clan. The Libnites, Hebronites, Malites, Mushites, and Korahites were all subclans of the Levites. Now, Kohath was the ancestor of Amram, and Amram's wife was named... Oh, right, yeah. That in the English spelling, that looks like it would be like Jochebed, but this is one of those ones where I actually kind of know the Hebrew pronunciation. Thank you, Prince of Egypt movie. It's pronounced Yochebed. She was a descendant of Levi, born among the Levites in the land of Egypt. Amram and Yochebed became parents of Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. That's why it's specifically mentioning them. To Aaron were born Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they burned before the Lord the wrong kind of fire, different than he had commanded. That was a whole big deal earlier on. I forget if that was earlier in Numbers or before that, but somewhere between late Exodus and the point where we are now. The men from the Levite clans who were 1 month old or older numbered 23,000. But the Levites were not included in the registration of the rest of the people of Israel because they were not given an allotment of land when it was divided among the Israelites. So I was right in that. Yay, memory kind of being decent. Also, since they would have served in the tabernacle, they also would not have been registered as troops because they weren't supposed to fight. They were supposed to help with the tabernacle. Anyway, okay, time to wrap this up. So these are the results of the registration of the people of Israel as conducted by Moses and Eleazar the priest on the plains of Moab beside the Jordan River across from Jericho. Not one person on this list had been among those listed in the previous registration taken by Moses and Aaron in the wilderness of Sinai. For the Lord had said of them, they will all die in the wilderness. Not one of them survived, except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. So, when it specifies that, I assume that also is like, that applies to the part where it says not one person had been among those listed previously, because I'm pretty sure both of them would have been alive back at that point. At least Caleb. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm assuming a little bit too much there, but that, I mean, considering all the rest who would have fit that description died, and it specifically singles out Caleb and Joshua from those people, yeah. I get a feeling they would have counted toward that before. But anyway, okay. So that wraps it up for chapter 26. I kind of, shortened some of the more repetitive and probably more boring stuff just so it wouldn't drag on so much. Alright, so we basically had another registration of all of Israel's troops, pretty much because the, older generation that was too scared to go into the Promised Land had basically died off, all except for Joshua and Caleb and Moses. So now they were doing another registration of the troops. Turned out to be a very similar number to what they had before. So despite, people dying off in the wilderness, there were also, other children born. Thus, the numbers remained at least similar. And, based on the fighting that they've already had to do, I'm sure there's going to be some other fighting to do, as they get further along in the wilderness and or into the Promised Land. So, just something to kind of keep in mind, even if just in the back of your mind, as we, continue through the Bible and see what happens throughout this whole time period for the Israelites. But anyway, as always, like and share if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to get updates when I post new videos. Look down in the description to get info on other social media pages and all that good stuff. And leave comments below there with any thoughts you have. So that's going to do it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you for the next video. But until then, stay cool, people.